Good afternoon, Scott Baker.
Mikey, how are you here on December 26th, 2025? Glad to be talking with you about today's field note. Today's field note is entitled The Strategic Use of Emotion. And I will try to remain expressionless as I talk about the strategic use of emotion.
I need to focus on that because we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bears head coach in this field note.
Okay.
And the San Francisco 49ers next opponent is the Chicago Bears. The Bears are coming to San Francisco.
Do you need some time? Do you just need a little quiet moment here? Well, I can talk with the folks watching and listening now. And
there is
when you're ready, if you're ready to come back to us,
there's a lot of jinxing that could take place in this conversation. So I just need to be very careful. My family is very superstitious. My mom is extremely superstitious. Like if she knew that I was talking about this today, which she
about how great Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears are, and how really, in many ways, they were probably insurmountable, and in fact, even doubting that fact is sort of a sign of being detached from reality. Right. I could see that the stakes are pretty high.
Right. And so even talking about the fact that he's been mentioned in the conversation for Coach of the Year is something of a sore subject for 49ers fans, right? Because we believe that our coach, Kyle Shanahan, has overcome a lot more. But because Ben Johnson went from a 5-12 record last year to now, I think they're at 12 wins right now, right? And so the fact that he turned the season around in one that's what it means to be the coach of the year. It basically is like a most improved award, which I don't think that's the way that we should define that award at all. So we've got our coach. So anyway, See how I couldn't keep my emotions in check.
It's already off the. We're already off the rails here, but yet I'm being implacable here in terms of just letting Mikey express what he needs to express. I don't know what kind of secret rituals and dolls of effigy are being used to torture Ben Johnson similes over in his mother's house. I don't know. I mean, it's just a little weird. But okay, let's then talk about the fact that we all do know that you sometimes watch coaches on the sidelines, and you can watch leaders in corner offices, and some are calm in the middle of the storm, no matter what. Yeah. And maybe they're always calm. We have that sort of image. This is old school, but going back to sort of Tom Landry, right? And the Cowboys in the era of like being dressed up and having the hat and just kind of being like, we're here to do a job, right? Now, sometimes you want a little bit of emotion, and there are coaches that do express a lot of emotion, and you see that. Now, I'm always curious about, well, is one way better than another? But in this case, what we're talking about is because there's admired leadership insight underneath the fact that there are two sides to Ben Johnson here. There is the one side of what he displays during a game, right before the game. There's another side that he displays at halftime or in the locker room with the guys, where he's really trying to kind of get to a whole different level of expressing what's really going on inside and how he really feels about those on his team. Right. So the question is, what are we all to learn from this in terms of the roles that we have as leaders?
Right. So he's earned the nickname for being stoic on the sideline as being the Iceman. I don't know if you've seen this clip.
We're playing TikTok videos here on Lead Better. This is what we're about to do?
We are. So here's Ben Johnson. I think we have a moment here. We actually see him click in to being the Iceman, right? So an interesting way.
The question today is, can they take the confidence from last week?
Did you see that?
I saw the flash. Yeah, it was a little scary.
There he is. Here comes.
Today is, can they take the confidence from last week onto this?
As a longtime professional announcer, let me describe this for the folks that are listening and not watching. In this scene, at a particular moment, Ben Johnson inhales.
Flares his nostrils.
There is a flare. There's a passion that exhibits his eyes. He does not. I don't believe that the mouth actually opens in any way. No syllables are uttered. He kind of pauses. He crosses his arms, and that apparently is enough to be an earthquake. Now, I have seen other scenes where Ben Johnson actually took his entire shirt off.
Yeah.
On the sidelines after a game.
I'm
not sure why. Yeah, I'm not sure. So maybe there's just all kinds of things going on inside that guy's head.
Right.
But the question
on
is,
the sideline, he chooses to control himself, and I think that we saw pregame of him just like whatever pep talk he gives himself to be like, okay, we're in stoic mode now. I think that expression that we just saw was the transfer, was the click.
Now, if you're a player, Mikey Ames, do you want a coach who is Mr. Stoicism on the sidelines, or do you want a coach who kind of is like attaboy?
Well, that's the rub here in this whole thing, right? Is because while I'd love for my coach to cheer for me when the moment happens in the middle of a game, provided it's not telling of what he thinks when I mess up, right? So it's almost like there's this notion that says maybe his steady Eddie, and then he's going to save it for halftime. He's going to save it for the end of the game. He's going to save it for throughout the week when he actually shares his real passion. But for whatever reason on the sideline, he's not going to like be effusive with his praise because he doesn't want me to be recognizing when I make mistakes. The effusiveness is not there.
Yes, right.
Right.
Now, and that is a factor that we've seen in our studies over decades at Admired Leadership of many of the world's top leaders, that there's a great temptation. Even if you don't have 60,000 fans in the stadium, even if millions of people aren't watching live on television, there's a great tendency you have to want to in the moment of someone's performance of any kind, to be jumping in on that, oh, that was amazing, or oh, what were you thinking? Yeah. And we all know that in that moment, if whether the person cheering for us at work or in the school play or whatever it might be, that when that sort of underlining of what's going on happens, then you tend to freeze.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong? You might even be like, oh, I did it right. Why did I did it right? Like, wait, what was that different than what I did in practice? Like you start to, it can paralyze you.
Yeah. And you can see that with kids, especially if they've got especially loud parents on the sideline who are coaching them through every single little thing. And you're inadvertently training your kid to make a move on the field and immediately look at you because you're not paying attention to the coach of what they might be calling or a play. You're just looking, do I have your approval? And if you see that on the field, that's the indication that mom and dad need to figure out how to bring balance to that situation so that the look on your face needs to bore them to the point where they're not interested any longer. And that might take several games for you to get to that point. It's like you might actually be at the stage where you shouldn't show up to a game, right? In order to bring balance.
We had a colleague who told an account of being at a game and watching other parents at a particular baseball game with their son. And this one father, the whole season, just couldn't let up on his own kid, just riding him the whole way, just screaming at him. And then at one point, the kid looks back to look at the dad. The pitch comes, he doesn't even see the pitch, and the dad's screaming like, "What are you thinking? What are you doing?" Like, you have trained this kid to do nothing but look back to see if am I doing it right? Am I screwing it up again? Right? You've made it impossible for the kid to actually just play baseball.
Absolutely. All right. I think I got you back.
Mikey froze for me there for a second. I'm not sure if it was you or me, but regardless, I'm sure that I did everything right. No. All right. So, but let's dive in here to say, well, what's the action that we need to think about here? What can we learn from Ben Johnson? There is an appropriate sense of the timing of emotion, and there are moments when you as a leader can express emotion, valid emotion. We're not talking about like something that's like out of control, or you just lost your temper, or you just got so wildly excited you started screaming. This is like the appropriate expression of a legitimate reaction that actually reflects the spirit of what's happening. And there's a moment for there to be just a calm, as you said, steady eddiness, to this. And that if you do that correctly, then the moments where you are emphatic, where you do celebrate, where you do underline, then it matters so much more. Right. And I think that's a good bit of it. probably for some people, that look that you played of the TikTok of Ben Johnson kind of starting to widen the eyes and flare the nostrils just a little bit probably was way more impactful than the coaches always like stomping up and down the sidelines screaming.
Right. You are training them to tune you out. And that's what you want to stay away from. Because you don't actually have the ability to go to 11 if you're constantly at 10, right? There's nothing. And unless you're going to strip down and set yourself on fire, which we don't recommend, right? There's
again,
no way.
Ben Johnson did strip down, though. Now, it wasn't. He didn't just do this. It was for some promotion. Like I think they said that if I remember, after a Bears victory, there was some restaurant organization in Chicago that said if Ben Johnson takes off his shirt, we will give out however many thousands of sandwiches or whatever it was. So he did. Right. Now, fortunately, I'm not being overly cruel here. He doesn't look like Andy Reid.
Yeah.
He's in pretty good shape.
Didn't mind.
So he did not disgrace his family or the team by taking, because it was totally, down to the skin, took off his shirt. Now, look, in the we're kind of in that holiday series of weekends where there's lots of games of all kinds. Look for this. Look for and I listen to it a lot in UFC fights. How is the coach reacting to the fighter in between the rounds? Are they giving, because you can be very directive. Here's what I need you to do, right? Here's what happened. You did that. Why did you do that? That was pretty good. I never saw you do that in practice. Like now I'm just got you all wound up in the wrong direction. But you can be directive. And if you time the emotion, right? If you express, like we talked about belief yesterday, you can in emotion express belief in somebody for what's about to happen. Right before they go in the ring, right before they go on the field, you time that right, and you bring the right emotion to it. And even the Detroit Lions coach is known for kind of having one tone when they're doing a certain thing, but the emotion that he expresses to his players individually and personally, they want to play for him. Like they believe in him as much as he believes in them.
Yeah. So it seems like what Coach Johnson believes is that, we've run this play 20 times a day in practice over the last 4 days in preparation for this game. So I've seen flawless execution so many times. And in the moments, it is more likely that you're going to pull off flawless execution in the game if I'm like who I am on the sidelines during practice, right? So let me shut my mouth and just let you guys do it. Right. And by the way, when we're playing calls, we're usually not just calling one play for one thing. It's a chess match where we're actually calling 3 plays at a time. So if I'm going to overreact because we failed on play 1, there's 2 more plays to come. Why in the world would I jeopardize that? Right. So even if he is someone who is naturally prone to be very emotive in the way that you talk.
Yeah.
I can see him saying, I'm just creating a rule for myself. In the middle of a game, no emotion. I'm just, that's just the rule. And I'm an emotional guy, but I'm just going to turn it off for the game. And I think that is actually a powerful way to be able to, the rest of the team, I'm sure knows about it, understands what they're doing. So when does that show up? There's not a whole lot of times in the hallway, like depending on what your organization does or how you run your business, right? But if someone's about to go up for a presentation of some sort, like they're going to close the big sale and they've got this deck that they've been working on for the last few weeks, right? And right before they go up to give this final presentation to actually close this deal, you're going to be giving them all kinds of pointers like that. Like that's a horrible timing for you to be able to do that for them, especially just get out of their head, allow them to just do the thing with flawless execution like they've practiced over the last couple of weeks.
And even you as the coach probably are better if you have that calmness going on, because you're able to keep all of your synapses in the right order when you're in that frame. Now, I would just say, don't be an axolotl. Now, I know this because a friend of my daughter's, gave her an axolotl, and oh man,
how's it doing? Right, it's been a few months. Is it it's still alive?
Yeah, unfortunately. But what does an axolotl do if you don't know? Go ahead and and just search it up and you'll see the image. I'm going to demonstrate it here with wild emotion, on the screen for those watching right now. But an axolotl, in fact, I'm going to do like a before, during, and after of a nuclear explosion going off near an axolotl. So this is right before.
Yeah. Okay. Boom. There goes the nuclear explosion. And then
This is it.
Yeah. All right. And then you're in nuclear fallout. And then you, yeah, that's it. That's it. Great.
And I just did an axolotl 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Just entirely expressionless. Nobody wants to actually work for a leader like that or play for a coach like that. But what about the coach? And we can kind of wrap on this because we're at past time. But what about the leader who says, I'm not that expressive? Like, I'm pretty reserved. I still think there's room for that person. I think there's room for you to be like, I can execute as a very reserved leader. But you can, like Ben Johnson flaring his nostrils just a little bit, you can still express in words and actions and behaviors towards your team. I believe in you. Here, I'm going to express my deep, passionate, emotional underlining in even a subtle way. And they'll be like, holy cow, they really believe.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. All right. Well, thank you for this conversation today.
Dynamite.